On a few occasions, I have misspoken about my service, and I regret that, and I take full responsibility. I may have misspoken. I did misspeak on a few occasions out of hundreds that I have attended, whether events or ceremonies, and I will not allow anyone to take a few of those misplaced words and impugn my record of service. I regret that I misspoke on those occasions. I take full responsibility for it.
Connecticut Democratic Senate hopeful Richard Blumenthal attempting to clean up after revelations that he inaccurately described his military record. Mr. Blumenthal served stateside during the Vietnam War, not actually in Vietnam. Republican efforts to capitalize on that were cocksure and fast. Barely a week after Mr. Blumenthal's apology for misspeaking, Republican Senator Orrin Hatch had already introduced legislation to threaten 6 months in jail for anyone misrepresenting his or her military record. Quote, whoever knowingly makes a fraudulent statement or representation, verbally or in writing, regarding the person's record of military service in the United States Armed Forces, including but not limited to participation in combat operations, for the purposes of gaining recognition, honorarium, official office, or other position of authority, employment, or other benefit or object of value as a result of that statement, shall be fined under this title, imprisoned not more than 6 months, or both. Fined or imprisoned or both. Tough, right? Really tough. Depending on who you are. Just days after Senator Hatch introduced that 6 months in jail amendment, overtly inspired by the Richard Blumenthal case, the Washington Post published an article about another would-be senator embellishing his military record. The problem for Orrin Hatch? This time, the guy's a Republican. It's Congressman Mark Kirk, the Republican running for President Obama's former Senate seat in Illinois. Mr. Kirk has had a long career as a U.S. Navy reservist, but he also described himself on his website as Navy Intelligence Officer of the Year. Now, the Navy does name a Reserve Intelligence Officer of the Year. Mark Kirk never received that award. Mark Kirk was in a unit in Italy that once got an intelligence award from a professional group, the whole unit, but that's as close as we can get to that award listing being true. When caught out, Mr. Kirk explained that it had been a misprint.
We misidentified the award. I actually received the Rufus Taylor Intelligence Unit of the Year award, but we misidentified it. And so when the staff saw that it was a different title, we changed my official biography.
Except it wasn't just on his official biography. Mark Kirk has also, in person, out loud, congratulated himself on his fake Navy Intelligence Officer of the Year award in Congress.
I've been in office just 1 year. Before that, I was a Navy Reserve Intelligence Officer, was the Navy's Intelligence Officer of the Year in 1998.
No, you weren't. Congressman Kirk also cited his fake Navy Intelligence Officer of the Year award in his campaign ads.
Determined to make a difference for his community and defend America. The Navy named Mark Intelligence Officer of the Year for his combat service in Kosovo.
Except it wasn't given by the Navy, and it wasn't an award for Mark Kirk. On the excellently named blog, The Nitpicker, which sparked some of the initial reporting on this story, Afghanistan war vet Terry Welch also points out that Mark Kirk's official congressional website claimed in 2005 that Mark Kirk was the only member of Congress to have served in Operation Iraqi Freedom. Congressman Kirk did not serve in Operation Iraqi Freedom. He did not serve in Iraq. Welch has posted screenshots of the congressman's website showing that after Kirk was confronted about the Operation Iraqi Freedom issue, he just quietly changed the website without comment or explanation. So, even if you set aside the Operation Iraqi Freedom thing, if Congressman Kirk for years kept saying the Navy named him Intelligence Officer of the Year, even though he never got that award, does that mean that Orrin Hatch wants to put his fellow Republican, Congressman Mark Kirk, in prison for 6 months? No, of course not. Don't be silly. Remember, this is the language Orrin Hatch wrote when he was just thinking about sticking it to that Democrat guy. He wrote, quote, whoever knowingly makes a fraudulent statement or representation, verbally or in writing, regarding the person's record of military service in the United States Armed Forces, including but not limited to participation in combat operations for the purposes of gaining recognition, honorarium, official office, or other position of authority, employment, or other benefit or object of value as a result of the statement shall be fined under this title, imprisoned not more than 6 months or both. Asked by the Washington Post if that language applied to Mark Kirk as well, Orrin Hatch's spokesperson said no, of course not. Quote, the amendment's intent is clear. It would make lying about serving in active duty in the military for the purposes of career advancement a misdemeanor. Clear, right? So when Mark Kirk puts out a campaign ad saying, vote for me because I won this award from the Navy that I didn't really win, according to Orrin Hatch, that doesn't count as misrepresenting your military service. Because it's okay if you're a Republican. Always and forever.